Before you start using your e-Beach Wagon, you want to make sure that your Wheeleez tires are at the right tire pressure. It's important not to overinflate them. In this video, I'll go over how to test the tire pressure, how to inflate them properly, and also give you some helpful tips if you're experiencing something like air loss. So let's go ahead and dive in. Low pressure balloon wheels are different than any other wheels that you may be used to because they operate at such low pressure. The pressure range for these tires is between 2 and 4 psi. Now, be careful not to overinflate the wheels because that could void your warranty. The low pressure balloon wheels work so well in the sand because when you apply pressure to them, they flatten out. And I go over the science behind low pressure wheels in another video that I have referenced in the description below. Be sure to review the materials that Wheeleez provides you. In these materials, it'll say that the ideal pressure is 2.5 psi. That's typically where I like to keep the wheels that I use on my wagon. Now, if you're carrying heavier weight, you may want to consider increasing the pressure to 3, but I typically don't go up to 4 just to be sure that I'm not overinflating the wheels. To check your tire pressure properly, you're going to need a low pressure air gauge. You can't use a standard air gauge that would go up to like 50 or 60 psi because it's not going to read 2 to 4 psi accurately. I found that the gauges that are cut off at 15 psi are the most accurate. In the description below, I provide some links to some low pressure air gauge options for you, and hopefully by the time you're watching this, we'll have these digital low pressure air gauges available on our website, which are more accurate than the analog ones. These are like spring loaded, so each one is a little bit different. So you could buy 3 of these and you would get 3 different pressure readings, but these digital air gauges are a little bit more accurate. To read your tire pressure, you're first going to remove the nozzle cap here. And then on this digital pressure gauge, you got to turn it on. And then you're going to put the gauge over top of your nozzle and press in until it gives the reading. This is reading 2.2 psi, and then you can press this button in to release some air, and that just releases it down to 2.1 psi. So we're a little bit under where I'd like to be at 2.5, so I'm going to add some air to this tire. When adding air to your tires, never use an air compressor like this or an electric air pump. All you need to add air to your tires is a standard bike pump. It's a lot more easy to control because when you're using an air compressor, you can't accurately set it to 2 or 4 psi, and you could easily end up overinflating your wheels. The air valve in your Wheeleez wheel is indented into the wheel, so it may be difficult to get a standard bike pump nozzle over top of that. So what we recommend is using an air valve extender like this one here. Now, we provide you with one of these with the purchase of an e-Beach Wagon, but if you don't have one, I'll provide a link in the description below where you can purchase them. But essentially you just screw this air valve extender onto the air valve of the wheel, and then you can easily get your air pump, your bike pump, over top of that. Okay, now that I have the bike pump nozzle set up properly, I'm just going to give it a few pumps. 1, 2, 3, 4 is probably enough, and then I'm going to go ahead and check the air pressure using the low pressure air gauge. So first we got to remove the air valve extender, and we're going to grab our low pressure air gauge, turn it on, put it on the nozzle, and press in. Now we're reading 2.84, so I'm going to release some air to get down to 2.5, 2.66, 2.54. When I press it in, the numbers go down, but then they'll go back up to the right reading once you release it. 2.50, 2.52, there you go, 2.50, just where I want it. If you found that you're having a slow leak from one of your tires, chances are it's just an issue with the air valve core. Now, you can buy these air valve core tool sets online, and I'll provide the link in the description below, but it's very easy to either tighten or maybe replace one of your air valve cores. So let me show you how that works. In this air valve core toolkit, we have a couple different tightening tools, and then we have a set of new air valve cores. The first thing that you want to try if you're having a slow leak is to tighten the air valve core. And you'll do that with your air valve core tool. You'll stick this inside the air valve and then twist it around until it pushes a little bit further in to the air valve, which means it's surrounding the air valve core. And then you'll just want to turn it clockwise to tighten it until you start feeling some resistance. So you don't want to tighten it too much, but once you start feeling some resistance, that's where you'll want to stop. And then you'll want to test out the wheel after that to see if it continues to leak air. If it does, you may need to replace the air valve core entirely. And in the description of the video below, I will provide another video that shows how to replace it entirely, and also how to test to see if there's any air leaking out of the air valve using soapy water. Well, I hope you found this video helpful, and if you have any questions at all, feel free to reach out.